Anonymous Askers. What do? I'm totally in love with him and have been for 17 years. Will I ever be normal and happy? So this one starts off saying, please don't judge me until you hear my full story. Starting off good here. I started seeing a guy around 17 years ago. I was single and I believed he was as well. It was only months and months later that I found out he was married. I know I should have stopped it there and then, but I was madly in love with him and I couldn't. This went on for a long while, then one day he unexpectedly turned up at my doorstep and said he had left his wife. She came around to my house that night and tried to physically assault me, but he got in the way and stopped her. While she was there, she turned on him and said, I didn't know if you would be here or at blank house. This was a female from the local area who everyone knew. I had no idea he was seeing anyone else. It was late, so I let him stay the night, but the next day this other female picked him up after he had walked me to work. I was lucky that work sent me straight home and I found them sat in the car talking down the local park, otherwise I may never have known. I got my keys back from him, so he was in. Wait, I thought you said that she picked him up. Yeah, this other female picked him up after he walked me to work. But then you got keys? What keys? I got my key back from him and finished it there and then. I guess maybe like a house key? That evening, his then wife came around to my house again and physically assaulted me. I didn't blame her and I didn't report it to the police. Years later, I found out he was married again and they had 4 kids together. Within that time, I've had relationships myself, but I never forgot him. Why? Why are you still remembering him? For what? Some years ago, I started a second affair with him. Again, I was single at the time. Eventually his wife found out as he fell asleep with a pic of me on his phone and she saw it when she got home. I'm gonna say right now, you're never gonna be it. He left the wife and he still wasn't with you. You're never gonna be it for him. Obviously, I got all the abuse she could throw at me, verbally, and I again didn't blame her. He stopped seeing me. Fast forward to December 2022 and he messaged me out of the blue. At first, I kept him distant and was polite, but that was all. But in New Year's, I agreed to meet him one day, and it was like old times. Why? Why are you doing this to yourself? He informed me that he hadn't slept with his wife since the night that she found out about me years before. He informed me that they're co-parenting, but that's all. She sleeps in a different room. Obviously, I was wary and didn't believe him, but September last year, I decided I couldn't keep living a lie. I see her around the area almost daily, and she would go to a guy's house who lives around the corner from me every day. When I told him about it, he got very angry and jealous, which obviously hurt me emotionally. I told him that if she was seeing someone else, then he was free to be with me. He said he wanted to be with me, but he didn't want his children hurt or upset, which I totally understand. However, I gave him an ultimatum that he tells her or I do. So I did. Her response shocked me, as she said he wasn't lying that they had separated years ago but remained living in the same house for the sake of the kids. She wasn't even angry at me. I spent the whole day chatting online to her about lots of different things, not just about him. She said it made a nice change to meet an ex of his who was normal and not made her life hell. She informed me that throughout the years she received endless messages and calls from people telling her he's sleeping around and that she told me she would never be able to sleep with him or be with him again. Understandably, the trust has gone for me. She also told me that when he left the person that he moved in with when I kicked him out, he started having an affair with someone else. He got with her and then started an affair with the wife that he's married to now. What is with this dude? And why are you so like, oh my god, let me try to work this out with him? For what? Good lord. During our conversation, I told her I hated him and we were over. I had finished it as he kept saying we would be together, but then when it came to it, he didn't want anything to change. He wasn't angry with me for telling her, as he knew I couldn't live a lie anymore. We remained on speaking terms, and as you've probably guessed, I'm still seeing him to this day. Why? Why are you doing this to yourself? Stupid. He had just had a week away with her and their kids, which she booked. I spent the whole week expecting him to say they were trying again and making a go for their marriage, but again, they slept in different beds, and it was a holiday just about the kids. She told me it didn't bring them closer and nothing has changed. What do? I'm totally in love with him and have been for 17 years, but he won't leave the family home and I don't want him to, as he's the kid's security. She works full-time and he's a full-time dad, but also works when they're at school. I feel I've got another 10 years or more until I'm able to properly be with him, as the youngest is only 6 years old and a proper daddy's girl. So you're gonna keep dealing with this for another 10 years until y'all finally like, okay, let's do this? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that what that means? I see him about once a week and we have an amazing time together and it just feels natural. I've never felt the way I do about him with anyone else. I don't want to be with anyone other than him, and I can see myself being single forever, waiting for him. Why did you just admit that out loud? Why would you think that to yourself? Why? But here is where I struggle the most. So that wasn't the struggle? Your struggle bus is getting longer? I spend most of my time when I don't see him basically trying to push him away. I get verbally nasty and I say everything and anything to make him hate me and leave me. Okay, well that's good, I guess. Why do I do this? Why do you do this? Because you know that he's a piece of shit, that's why. My background, I was physically abused and sexually by my biological father and neglected and abused by my biological mother. Oh my god. This went on for the first few years of my life until eventually social services removed me and I was put out for adoption. I was adopted at the age of 6 by a family with 3 boys who were all older than me. I grew up being then abused both physically and emotionally by my mother, but no one ever knew. My dad absolutely loved me and she was jealous. I grew up and left home. I lost my dad to leukemia and have not visited her since. That was over 10 years ago now. I also lost my brother that I grew up closely with about 3 years ago. My 2 remaining brothers I have no dealings with, or my family, now all grown up. I'm happy with that. What do I do? What is wrong with me? I love him, always have, always will, and I will be happy if I die tomorrow as long as I am in contact with him. Why do I spend my lifetime pushing him away and yet he won't leave me regardless of what I say or do? He doesn't leave you because he knows that you're always going to be there. You try to push him away because you know that he's a POS. He keeps taking all the abuse I give, verbal, but he won't block me or leave me. Why won't he leave me for good? Because he knows that you're going to keep taking him back. He knows you are what he can always fall back on. You will always be there. He can go mess around, go have other relationships, do whatever he wants, but you will always be there. He knows that. That's why. You need to block him. I've grown up believing that anyone I love, my dad, my brother, my grandparents, leave me, and those that are meant to love me abuse me. Honey, that's not life. That's not life, baby. That's not life. If people love you, they do not abuse you, physically, emotionally, any sort of way. Is there any hope for me to be normal? Oh my gosh, to be normal? Honey. Will I ever get my happily ever after, or will I sabotage that as well? I always put everyone else before myself, no matter how much it hurts. Will I ever be normal and happy? Yes, you will be happy. You will absolutely be happy, but not with that piece of shit. Trust me. There are absolutely good men out there. Bah! I promise you, you were just dealt a bad hand the first half of your life. I promise you, there are still good ones out there that will not abuse you physically, emotionally, mentally. Will you ever get your happily ever after? You will when you leave this man alone. He is not good for you. He's not good for your heart. He's not good for your mental, nothing. You block him. You say, why doesn't he block me? You need to block him. Block him on your phone and then delete the number so that you can't, you know what I mean? Block him on every social media, everything. I know it's hard, 17 years, but girl, you do not deserve this. Nobody deserves this. Will you ever be happy? Yes. But not until you let that piece of shit go. And I'm telling you that right now. Because he will keep coming back into your life and he will keep fucking with you. He will keep fucking with your heart, with your mind, everything. Let him go now. Let's see what the comments say. This top comment says, therapy is the only word I have for you. You need to get to the bottom of all your abuse. He doesn't love you, nor himself, and until you love yourself, you can't love him either. You love the idea of him, and the time you have with him you enjoy because he gives you so little. It's abusive. Get yourself help. This comment here says, until you stop making excuses for your choices and spend time alone, getting therapy, nothing will change. You keep repeating the same bad choices, but expecting a different outcome. You've taught him to treat you like the last choice, so he has. Yep, that's why he keeps doing it, because he knows that he can. Yeah, and somebody commented under that one and says, yep, what you allow is what will continue. Unfortunately. This comment says, girl, this man doesn't want to be with you. End of story. Close the book and move on. Absolutely, 100%. Move on. Not even that chapter. Close that entire book. The chapters with him is, the times that he keeps coming back. Close the book. Put that book away and burn it. This one here says, this is an unhealthy attachment. You are looking for and wanting something you will never have with this man. You need to cut ties completely, heal from all the trauma you have experienced in your life, and then maybe once this is done, you'll be able to truly love yourself and create a healthy attachment with someone. This comment here says, to be blunt, he has never really chosen you first. You will always be his second best and sidekick, because if you weren't his bit on the side, things would have been way different. Besides, he is the type that will always look for something better and will always cheat as a result. History doesn't lie. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 100% yes. This one here says, have some self-respect and get a real man, not a loser who habitually cheats on his wives. Yeah, you know, the ones he vowed and honored to love. You like him because he's emotionally unavailable and it's safe. Ooh, get therapy. Leave his married ass alone. What advice do you have for this person? How to help her be happy? How to help her move on from this person? To help her understand that things will never be? Or do you think that he could possibly change and they could be happy? I don't know. Comment down below. What do y'all think about this?